We are live. Hello and welcome to the Benefit of the Doud podcast, the Douding Thomas version for February 2023. And we are already 2/12 into 2023. Can you believe it, Cliff? How are you doing this evening, by the way?
It's amazing. And we're actually recording before February has ended.
Before the end of the month, right? Yeah, that's important. That's a bit of a milestone for us, actually. Oh, you know what? I've got Skippy up already. We don't need him yet. But
Hi,
anyway,
Skippy.
yeah, it's a Monday. It's been a long Monday for me. But however, I kind of stepped on your intro there. So how you doing tonight, Cliff?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I think. And you and I talked a little bit before the broadcast started, and we're both just like a little gassed. I think, excited, lots of energy from doing this. But yeah, I'm tired for sure. It's been like you said, it's been a Monday.
Oh yeah. And MWC is going on strong as we speak. I'm in a journalist chat group and jealously reading all the messages as they go back and forth. Oh, should we go to this party or should we go to this party? I don't care. I'm not at the party.
Some serious across the pond FOMO right there.
Yeah, that's all right. I get it. It's fine. Everything's fine.
It's been a pretty eventful.
It has.
We're here to talk about that, but a pretty eventful Mobile World Congress.
Yeah, it has. Coming up for the Beyond a Doud for this month, we'll be talking to someone who is at Mobile World Congress. Wow. That would be Mr. TK Bay will be joining us, which is exciting.
He's at every event. I always find it interesting when people who are family guys like he is, like we are, how they're also able to balance all of that with the traveling and everything. And obviously that's something maybe we can talk about with him. So
yeah,
that's an exciting thing. Yeah, I'm excited to talk to him.
And especially what TK is, an independent creator. Right. He doesn't work for a publication like me. So that's, I would say, even on a level even more rigorous than attending for a publication. You're there on your own, just creating, and that's so yeah. We could definitely talk to him about that. But yeah, you're right. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on in mobile at the Mobile World Congress. Go figure. Like, who could have seen that coming? But yeah, and speaking of MWC, now that the embargo has passed, I can show up. And actually, I was able to show this off before. Come on up, Skippy.
Come on, Skippy.
I was able to show this off before. It's just that we couldn't do a full review before the MWC announcement. But this is the Honor Magic VS, which I have been reviewing, and I will be reviewing for Slash Gear.
That's probably exciting.
Yeah,
it's nice to see, because I mean I know Honor has been doing foldables for a few years, but now this is actually one that's I don't know if this is his first time, but I think it's his first time coming to outside of China, right?
That's a good question. No, I mean, well, I want to say this is also one of Honor's first foldables, if not the first foldable, if I remember correctly.
It looks very just in terms of the aspect ratio, it looks very Samsung-y.
It's kind of hard to keep up with all the foldables that are not coming to the United States. So I've pulled out my OnePlus 11 here for reference because they have the same aspect ratio. See, I wiped this because I was going to send it to you, but then you bought one yourself. So
yeah.
But no, I just wanted to compare.
Narrow, it's funny because the OnePlus 11 is a very narrow phone, right?
It is, and
then that one looks even more.
It kind of is. Like, one thing that I've noticed repeatedly, and I'm looking for my caliper and I can't find it. What the heck? One thing that I've noticed repeatedly when I'm typing.
We need a name for the caliper too. I think maybe that's something else we can get named by our.
Yeah, there you go.
Viewership.
I don't know. Skippy might get jealous, but anyway, no. One thing that I've noticed while I've been typing on the narrow screen is just like. I can just do like www.slashgear.com. It feels like my fingers. I wrote a lash gear. It feels like my fingers just aren't like muscle memorying the same as they do on a normal. But I was thinking like this is a very narrow front screen, but now that I'm holding it up next to the OnePlus 11, it's not that narrow. Like it's noticeably more narrow than the OnePlus 11. Like because you can't see because I've got dark mode on, but like the edges of the screens are like at the edges of my fingernails here, whereas like on the OnePlus 11, it rolls off the side of the screen, so it's not as significantly more narrow than I thought it was going to be. Oh, I just had a thought. No, I thought the caliper might be in here. It is not. Grr. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, but like one thing that I have noticed is I have been typing has been a bit of a chore on this inner
I'd say
screen.
when you have something so narrow like that, it definitely, it like you said, muscle memory is definitely a factor.
Yeah, but
even
then
with the OnePlus 11, which I won't go into detail about, but yeah, I mean it's definitely an adjustment. I mean for me because I've been using the iPhone 14 Pro Max.
Oh yeah, that's a major difference.
That's so much wider.
And actually, this is the Samsung Galaxy S23 regular, the vanilla, if you want to call it that, and this is just about the same width, and I do not have problems typing on here. So maybe it's the added bulk, just because like there's more
the thick boy
behind it. Yeah, I don't know, but one nice thing about this, there is no gap in there whatsoever.
Nice.
I mean, and that was like one of my biggest turnoffs with the Samsung foldables is they had the gap, but there is just no gap there whatsoever, which I kind of dig. One thing I'm not fond about is you see this grid. We've got I believe it's a 6x5 grid of icons here. When you open up the phone, you get the exact same 6x5 grid. Like all it does is just blow it up a little bit.
Which that's I mean maybe some people like the extra ease of touchability when your icons are spaced so far away. Is this on Android 13?
This is on, I want to say Android 13.
I know Honor has been putting things out with Android 11, so I really have no idea.
Yeah, this is Magic OS 7.1. It's Android version 13. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
maybe it's just not. Well, it doesn't look unoptimized but it does feel like more like not like the 12L thing with like the bar on the bottom and all that kind of stuff that you're.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It feels more like your vanilla Android build that they built on top of. So.
It's kind of fun, and I don't know if I like this or not, but if you long press on a folder, you can enlarge the folder so it becomes bigger.
Interesting.
And then from there, you can actually tap on these icons individually without having to like open up the folder and then open it up.
Very almost like what iOS might choose to do, even though they don't. It just becomes more just a small grid.
Yeah, and then like when you put that up against like a normal icon, let me just grab Runkeeper.
Oh, that's blowing up
here.
The icons too.
When you put it up next to they're slightly smaller, so you get kind of like you basically get like 3 icons in a space that could cover 2. So yeah, it's like I said, I'm not sure how I like it. I think I like it, but and it does the same thing when you close it, so you can still
4 days now.
This I have had for about a week.
Oh, okay.
About a week. Yeah.
I thought. Okay.
So
I don't know. Everything's just blended together now.
My God, dude! Do you know how many times FedEx and UPS stopped at my house last week? It was crazy. Like I was literally losing track. Like because when companies ship you devices, I don't get a package from Honor. I get a package from a logistics company. Right. Exactly. So like
probably DHL most of the time, I'm guessing, since these are international things.
Well, this one was actually FedEx, but yeah, in general, yeah. But like I don't like I would get a notification from an email saying you're getting a package from United Electronics Logistics UK or something. I'm just like, what's that? And so like I would have no idea.
Oh, without any kind of identification.
Right, exactly. But anyway, so yeah, it's just a little weird. But anyway, so that's what I've been playing with there, and I've got This is the S23. Like I said, vanilla. This I'm actually going to be working on this week, so this will be coming to Slash Gear. And you know what? Surprisingly good.
Yeah, that I've been seeing. It's funny because because of the Ultra model, it seems like the other two don't get nearly as much love. But this year, and I don't know if it's because of what Samsung did, or in terms of hardware, or if it's more to do with the generation 2 of Snapdragon, or Qualcomm's latest like generation of processors.
Right.
But
Right.
one thing I'm definitely seeing is that even in this smallest version of the Samsung S series, that it's getting much better battery life. And I don't know if that's your experience, but that's what I've seen so far in reviews.
Yeah, but like the camera is very decent, like almost to the point where I kind of almost regret buying the Ultra, because I need to put these. We talked about this a little bit on with Fisher, but like side by side, like a 10x photo is not bad. Like this hybrid zoom is not bad compared to like what the optical zoom. But
I have a funny story to tell you about that real quick.
Go for it.
Just
that's what we're here for, man.
So I'm referencing something that if you haven't watched it, you definitely need to watch it, and that is our it's not Beyond a Doubt. Okay, so our Beyond a Doubt creator interview with Mr. Mobile, the Mr. Mobile, aka Michael Fisher. And as you were discussing Samsung, and then you came to just talking about your love for the standard S23, kind of talking about what you're talking about right now. I literally saw like his face kind of tilted.
Oh yeah,
and his
yeah,
eyes
I saw it
this way, and then he kind of went. It was like, and
yeah, he's like, go on.
I don't believe watch as I get on TikTok right now. Yeah, and it's so funny how you would think. I mean, there are definitely different like pockets of opinion and preferences and such. Even with people like you and me, and especially like you and Fisher and other people who review not just Android phones, but iPhones and things like that. Like we definitely have our preferences with things, and I think I mean just go watch the review. But I was really having a hard time not busting out laughing at his as you were espousing on
as he was humoring me. Yes, I totally
Oh,
and
so funny.
And I will admit it's warranted. I
understand where he's coming from. Yeah, it made me laugh. I actually DM'd him on Twitter about it, and we had a good laugh. But anyway.
Well, thanks for talking behind my back. That's great.
It's what I do. That's what I'm here for.
So you mentioned you had the phone already. Why don't you show us the phone that you're going to be reviewing for this channel, sir?
Yeah, since you've already done it for other channels, I have. Let me just. It's like, should I bring the? Look. There's a notification that we are live.
Oh, look at that!
Yeah, so
that's fun. It's almost like we're live.
It is. So this is the OnePlus 11. As I said, a narrow boy. Which I'll be honest, it's funny when you don't handle a phone from one brand anymore, and then they sort of have that one style, and I forget that they really. I mean, they have kept my last OnePlus device was the OnePlus 7T. So it's been a while. That's like
it has been a minute.
5 generations ago now, something like that. I mean, it's been a while. And I will say, like, I had my reasons, and if you go back and if you really want to hear my opinions on OnePlus, and what they've been doing for the past 2 or 3 years, especially, I think I got very negative on OnePlus after the OnePlus 10T launch, because they omitted things that I thought were such like brand constants, and like made a OnePlus phone a OnePlus phone.
Your opinions about OnePlus's direction are pretty well documented on this podcast.
And I think I said I think this. I don't know if I'll ever buy another OnePlus phone again.
And here we are.
But there's a reason for that.
Okay.
It appears that they've been listening to feedback.
Okay.
And I'm not going to go into any of the specifics, except to say that I really feel like this phone to me feels more of a return to what was the sort of the core of what made OnePlus good. And I'll save the rest of that for the review. But yeah, just
Sure.
I'll tell you one thing, just not going into too much detail. We'll see how good at my review cam is here. Not review cam, but if we can focus in here. But man, this is one of those things where if you don't have it in hand, like especially with this black model, which by the way, I have not experienced the same slipperiness that you have, but you've still got the gaffer tape on it.
Yes, I do. I'm never taking it off.
but the camera housing itself has this very like jewel like quality to it in some of the depth of the details that they've put into it. And there you go. Yeah, the iPhone doing its job there.
That's actually the Samsung
S23.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't get the iPhone to work. But anyway, long story.
Yeah, it's really going to be hard to show, but it's got this like coin like ribbing detail around the edges of it.
Yeah, we're not focusing on that.
It's too hard to do that. But one thing I thought that was really interesting, just real quick, is that they made a material choice to put stainless steel around the camera housing, but then the mid frame is aluminum.
Okay,
which I thought was really interesting, and I saw some criticism from people who said that the it's not one piece, kind of like some Samsung phones and maybe even some OnePlus phones were before when it transitions there. Now I know why. It's two different materials.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I really like this phone. I'm looking forward to reviewing it for the channel. But and this is my first new phone that I've touched for any length of time. From me
since the iPhone.
Yeah. So it's been a while, and I've had a chance to play with some other devices, but this is, I mean, other people would say, well, I only get it, and you probably are doing the right thing and saying I only get a phone every couple of years,
right. Yeah.
But for me, man, the itch feels good. It feels good to scratch it.
It does. It really does, doesn't it?
It's been like 6 months, and I've just been like, need new phone.
So one last thing that I already did actually write about for /gear, but I get the feeling that you're gonna dig this. Is I got this wireless charger from
that's a beefy boy.
Oh yeah, but you know what?
Marble on
it's marble.
Wow.
And
is marble a good? Is stone a good conductor of electricity? I
don't think it's a conductor per se, but I mean
maybe
works.
It's just so thin. That's awesome. I love that. It's funny how good that goes with especially your mat that you've got there, your review mat.
Yeah, exactly.
Like those should be paired together all the time in your office there somewhere.
And you know what? I wasn't planning on bringing this up while we were online, so I forgot to look up the name of the company. But here we go. It is, I am, I am if nothing if I am not a legend of research when it comes to it's a company called iNova. It's and I mean it's pricey. It's $70. So
with marble, it's exactly that's actually not too bad.
Right.
I mean, when you consider that, like, like Pixel wireless chargers in the past have cost at least that much, and it's just plastic. Yeah. Not to say that there weren't benefits to that, but like in a material side, it's kind of like the Master and Dynamic wireless charger, except they do actually offer one. But you know what I mean? It's that premium materials kind of thing.
Yeah, but I mean, so it's nice and
thick on the bottom too.
And it's marble. It has felt on the bottom, a nice white braided cord coming out of it.
Oh, I don't like that it's connected though.
Yeah, I feel you on that, but I mean, honestly, what are they going to do? Like chisel out the marble to have a USB-C connection? So, I
think they could have just opened up the bottom there a little bit and had a cutout and then put it in there. But
and if you're ever in the middle of a burglary, you can use it as a mace.
I picture like someone doing nunchucks with that.
Oh, there you go.
And then just like the cable breaking because it's an iPhone quality cable.
Right.
And flying, and then you hit yourself, and it becomes a YouTube meme.
You can do like
you've been robbed.
There we go. But anyway, so yeah, and it's funny because the two other phones that we've talked about on this podcast can't use this because the Honor VS does not have
the Honor charging. Well, okay, so do we know the pricing of the Honor?
We do. It was announced today. It
Ah,
in U.S. dollars, it's right around like 1,600.
that is horrible to not
Yeah.
have wireless charging.
Right. Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, and also, I mean, you're not undercutting Samsung by all that
Well,
much.
that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, I won't go any deeper into that, but
Yeah.
and maybe there's without having handled it, I understand that this is pretty thin. So
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, Skippy, it's time to retire you. So, because we're gonna get into a little bit of the meat of the podcast here. Now that we're 20 minutes in, let's talk about where we're actually
delicious.
gonna
I love some protein.
what we're gonna be talking about here. So, we've had this AI revolution that's been kind of like washing over everybody, and it comes in the form most popularly of ChatGTP, which is a company
GPT.
GPT GPT
I think
GPT
so. I think
GTP.
maybe we're both wrong.
I don't.
I think it's Chat GPT.
It's chat. Where is it? What the hell? Chat GPT. Now I'm questioning myself. What the? You know what? If I just type in Google Chat GTP, okay, it's right in the description. That's all I need to know.
Is it? Is it?
Yes,
Was I wrong?
GTP.
GTP. Well,
Wait,
okay.
actually, wait, hang on a second, because now Chat GPT.
Aha!
Shit.
Aha!
Oh man.
Victorious.
Well, it's funny because if you type into Google chat, the first result is GTP. The second result is GPT.
GTP. You know,
Well,
this is funny. I have been married to my wife for 15 years plus
and
now.
you still can't pronounce her name
She
properly.
still can't say IMDb.
Oh, really?
15 years of using this service between, just it being online and then apps. She still says IMDb.
That's hilarious. But
No, IMBD.
IMBD.
She says IMBD. Yes.
Okay.
See, I can't even purposefully say it
No,
right.
no, yeah. So Chat GPT, you know what? I probably had it right in my head, but whatever. I just type it into
It's
Google
fine.
and I
It's
get
fine.
there.
Everybody knew what you were talking about. Unless
Yeah.
you haven't been paying attention for the last 6 months.
I've built a career on being an idiot. So if you're just finding this out now, welcome to the podcast. But anyway,
And I'm just pedantic. So the two of us are great.
yeah, we're doing great. Anyway, so we're here to talk about Chat GPT.
And by the way, I want to apologize to everyone who can hear my cat in the background. That's probably not going to be taken out in post. So you just this is a cat just meowing, wandering around.
Yeah, that's fine.
Maybe I'll show her.
That's how we do this podcast now.
Yeah, I mean we had dogs in the last recording. It's great.
We did. But and then pretty soon we'll get our kids involved and it'll be great.
Yeah.
And we'll have to start paying them because they'll be hired talent.
This is the price you pay for not having a separate studio because you're not
tiny
Michael Fisher.
Yeah, right, exactly. Exactly. But anyway, so GPT is it's a large language learning model. It's AI, and the gist of it is, for those who are not familiar, you type in a question and it will pump out volume after volume of answers for pretty much anything you want. And one fun fact about ChatGPT is that I only just got access to it about halfway through this month.
Yeah,
I think
it's kind of like Stable Diffusion and those where if you wanted to use it straight from the provider instead of some integration, I mean, you were waiting in line. You're standing in line waiting to use it. Yeah,
I was standing in line waiting to use it, and I should also point out that I am also talking about OpenAI's ChatGPT, not Bing ChatGPT, because I'm still waiting for that, because I will not change my default search to Bing, and suck on that, Microsoft. But anyway, so I finally got access to ChatGPT, and are you in line for that? Have you even?
I have not, but I have used
Okay.
things powered by it. I will say that, and I mean I don't know if I've used, because I haven't used the Bing integration yet. I don't know if I've used the latest version.
Yeah, I'm still on the wait list for that.
You have been going a little nutso burrito with it, and I applaud you for it because it is very interesting.
Thank you. And if you're curious as to how I've been using ChatGPT, go ahead and take a look at the last few YouTube descriptions that we've had for our videos, because those have been written by ChatGPT. So ChatGPT, damn it. Anyway, so for example, what do we have here? For Michael Fisher, I told ChatGPT to write a YouTube video description for an interview between hosts Adam and Cliff and special guest Michael Fisher. Topics discussed include Star Trek Picard, foldable phones, the Oppo Find N2 Flip, and Michael's origin story about how he got into tech writing in the first place. And I mean, I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's like 4 paragraphs, but it spit out a YouTube description that was actually reasonably accurate, except for the order in which we talked about the topics. So the AI spit out Star Trek Picard first, which we didn't talk about Picard first. We talked about that was like halfway in, and we ended things kind of on the Oppo Find and Flip. So like each of these descriptions I've had to edit because they weren't exactly on point. But like the tech organizer pouch,
especially like if you have one topic like that, or mostly one topic, it's much better in terms of especially I'd say, well, please continue, but I will just say I have been like a little bit freaked out, but also like impressed by what it does.
Yeah, because I've been chatting these over to Cliff as they've been coming up. But I mean, like, for the tech organizer pouch that we did, my only prompt was write a winning YouTube description for a tech review video about a tech organizer pouch, and it spit out like five paragraphs of stuff, and then I followed it up by saying, because what it was saying was, in this tech video, we'll show you everything you need to know about this handy pouch, including its features. And so I did a further prompt by saying, cool, but write it in third person. The reviewers are Adam and Cliff. And so then it's like, okay, cool. And then it switched it over to, in their latest video, Adam and Cliff share their thoughts on this must-have accessory, blah, blah, blah. So it's really like super intuitive, like how it works. And quite frankly, I'm too lazy to write good YouTube descriptions. So I'm happy to have this available.
It definitely is. If you look at it as a tool, and then if you're willing to adjust some things, number one, I think, I mean, I'm suitably impressed with it.
Yeah.
And two, it feels like the more concise information that you give it, it seems to produce even more content. Go figure, right? Like better content. We did have one thing that was really funny, and I can't remember which video it was for, but it was within these, where you were basically just trying to introduce some more information about me, and until it got to a point, it was actually pretty good, and then it started saying that I had written articles. Because so first of all, let me say that you have written articles and produced content for Android Authority.
Right.
Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor.
But then it started. It introduced that I had also written some very interesting articles for Android Authority.
So let's walk through this. So what you're referring to is what AI experts are calling hallucinations,
right?
Because that basically a hallucination is when an AI generates either made up or just completely untrue information about a given subject. So, we started off, this is funny. So we started off, who is Adam Doud? And it said, I have no idea. And so I said, he reviews technology. And it said, there are several people named Adam Doud who review technology. And I'm like, and then it went on to say, one possible person is this reviewer, writer, and podcaster. He has written for publications like Android Authority and Sound Guys, and he hosts the Benefit of a Doud podcast. Another possible person is Adam Doud, who is a technology writer for Digital Trends. So I replied, those are both the same person. And it said,
right.
And it said, "Oh, sorry. Well, then here you go." And then I
one
said,
thing I have to just ponder really quickly is, does that stay in its database of memory, or is it just referencing back to?
"That's a good question."
Yeah,
That's
I
a
would
good
like to
question.
try it. We should try that again at some point. That would
Yeah.
be interesting.
And then I asked it, "Who is Michael Fisher?" And no problems there.
Yeah.
Michael Fisher, also known as Mr. Mobile, popular technology reviewer, commenter, written for several major tech publications, including Pocket Now, Android Central, and Windows Central. That sounds right. Actually,
right.
we should have asked him when we had him on, but he's deep in the throes of MWC now, so we can't ask him now. But
right.
I'll have to see if he has it. I know he has worked with producers from Android Central, but I don't know if he has actually published content there. So that'll be a good question to ask. But anyway, so then I asked, who is Clifton Thomas? And it said, I'm going to quote this. "I'm sorry, but as an AI language model, I don't have access to information on every individual in the world. Without further context or details about Clifton M. Thomas, it's difficult for me to determine who this person is. If you could provide me with more information, yada, yada." So I said, he's a graphic designer and co-host of Benefit of a Doubt podcast. And it said, "Oh, Clifton M. Thomas is a graphic designer and co-host of the podcast, which is a technology and culture show that discusses a wide range of topics, blah, 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 blah." And then this is where
things got creative.
This is where things got weird. He is known for his skill as a graphic designer and has worked on a variety of projects over the years, including branding and marketing materials for a range of clients. He has also contributed several online publications, including Android Authority, where he has written articles about design and the user experience in the tech industry. I said, "Oh yeah." So what are some of his
the best part?
What are some of his articles on Android Authority? It says Clifton M. Thomas has contributed several articles to Android Authority over the years, many of which focus on design and the user experience. Here are a few examples. And it lists off 4 examples of articles that Clifton M. Thomas
hyperlinks.
With hyperlinks. 4 articles that Clifton M. Thomas has written for Android Authority. Cliff, how many articles have you written for Android Authority?
That's doing it, my friend. Not a zilch, zero.
So it gave me the titles originally, and I said, "Okay, can you give me some URLs for those articles?" And it said, "Absolutely, here you go." And it spit out,
look like legit URLs.
Oh yeah.
Well, you have frozen for me, Adam.
Hi.
There you go.
Oh, okay, we're back. Okay. Pardon the interruption there.
Oh,
sorry
the
about
fun
that.
of streaming on the internet.
Yeah.
Here's what's funny, though, just very quickly, since we're just doing this live. I could see a shadow moving around on Skippy the review cam.
Oh, really? Wait.
But
yeah,
your
down
video
here.
was frozen.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys can't see this because on StreamYard, which is what we use to stream, I can actually see all 3 of the potential video feeds that we have. And so right now, Skippy the view cam is not live, but I could see his shadow moving around. And
there he is.
There he is. And he's gone.
Anyway, yep. But anyway, so long story short.
We actually have a couple of viewers, and we have Mind Your Helm, who said, "Houston, we have a problem."
Oh, I don't have any of those chats.
And Christopher, who said, "He's glitching. It's a simulation."
Oh, there we go.
Adam is ChatGPT from
Mind Your Helm. I wish.
I mean, maybe he's from the future. I can confirm that he is a real person, unless he's like an avatar that has a physical body. I have met him in person, so he is not.
But you've never been to my home.
That's true.
You don't know if I exist in a place, or if I just show up every now and then.
Could have just been a bunch of nanobots formed to
it could be
forming a body.
It could be.
No idea.
But anyway, so that it was kind of cool because we got to experience a chat AI hallucination, which when we experienced it, I hadn't heard the term hallucination before, so I wasn't sure like what it was. But yeah, that was interesting. I also asked ChatGTP who would win between the 2003 Chicago Cubs and the 2016 Chicago Cubs, and it came up with the right answer. It said, I'm an AI, so I can't predict the outcome of a hypothetical baseball game, but while the 2003 Chicago Cubs were a very talented team, the 2016 Cubs would probably win. And they were right. So like, what else have I asked? I asked ChatGTP who would be who would act as their voice in a movie about them, and they said I don't really have a preference, but then it named Morgan Freeman, Emma Thompson, and James Earl Jones. So it's a very diverse potential cast.
I mean, not really, because two
Well,
guys are basically elderly black men who could be the voice of God, and then Emma Thompson.
that's true, but
what? Why Emma Thompson?
they slipped Emma Thompson in there, so that's good. That's good. And I don't know if you've seen but Slash Gear, the company that I work for, the people that pay my bills. We've done a couple of articles there where we've asked ChatGPT, God damn it, where we have asked, you know what? I'm just going to call it Al. Where we've asked Al,
if you're a Quantum Leap fan, this could work.
Yeah, what are the 3 best cars and what are the 3 best motorcycles ever? And it's actually come up with some pretty good answers for those. But yeah, so I mean, that's kind of like Chat GPT in a nutshell, essentially. Which and it's fun. It's fun to use. It's fun to have it write YouTube descriptions for me because I don't want to do it. And like now we get to talk about like where this is kind of going, like where we are. That's fine, but like where do we think this is going? And so, as an artist, I would imagine you probably have some thoughts, not necessarily about ChatGPT, but like like AI in general.
It's funny that you said that because even before you said that, I started thinking about my experiences with specifically what you guys, if you have owned a Pixel, or if you've used maybe some third-party apps that offer something similar, but and I don't remember what the feature is called. And actually, this feature just opened up to people outside of owning a Pixel, as if you subscribe to Google One, but where you can open up a photo that you've taken and circle something and have AI take it out of the image.
Okay.
Right.
Oh yeah, magic. Yeah.
Magic eraser. There we go.
Right. That's the word we're looking for.
So something like that has been available in Photoshop for a long time, and now there's actually an option in Photoshop, because that was always processed locally, right, like on your computer, until Creative Cloud became a thing. And as they've introduced more and more features, there's like an option to, I guess, what you would have like a more powerful, because it's processed in the cloud version of it, and it gives you the option to have either one process it, which is kind of interesting. So I mean, I've thought about this a lot, from both as a graphic designer, but also for someone like you in your position, how potentially this could replace, someone who creates content, whether it's, a graphic designer or someone who does video. And I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon, simply because of things like is it reading my dictation, or did you just ask
No. I asked it how to win the lottery.
Okay,
because Christopher asked.
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to hear in just a second. So, thankfully, the AI overlords are at least right now not coming to take over us, because you have things like the hallucinations, and while, at least from a graphic design standpoint, even if you're talking about using something like Stable Diffusion, it's pulling from stuff that's already been created. So what happens when that resource starts duplicating itself a lot? I mean, you still have to have people creating content. It's sort of a chicken and an egg scenario in the end.
Right.
And that's kind of how that's the conclusion that I've kind of come to. And yes, it could eliminate some jobs, especially for startup small companies where they don't have the option to hire, for example, in a marketing department, if you have a copywriter, that might eliminate some positions. I don't know, and
So
it depends on how much people trust it. There's a lot. There's so much up in the air, and there's a
yeah.
whole different thing with like the ethical part of it, and the law. There's so many things that have not been discussed about this yet. So please
Right.
continue. I'm sorry.
No, no. I was reading. I was actually was it reading or watching a video, one of the two. But I was watching about eliminating jobs because of AI, and famously or infamously, if you want to say, CNET has been churning out money articles
Yeah, I saw that.
generated by AI for months now, and as far
They're
as
not
I
the
know,
only
there's
ones, but they got called out for it. Yeah.
right. As far as I know, they're still doing it, but I think kind of tying these two together, I was watching a video earlier who said it might it might eliminate some jobs. Absolutely, it very well could eliminate some jobs.
As
Especially
technology has always done, and
right,
in the modern like industrial era,
right.
it's not something to be scared of. It's just something to be aware of because, sorry, I've been thinking a lot about this, but it's
No, it's
just
fine.
everything else adjusts accordingly.
But I think, and I agree with the opinion that was given today. I think what it's going to do more than eliminate jobs is it's going to modify jobs.
Right.
It's going to be, there was one of the examples that this person, and I wish I remembered what video I was watching so I could give credit to them. But one of the, what it's going to boil down to is, 10 years from now, you're going to have lawyers who use AI and lawyers who don't use AI. And lawyers who don't use AI are going to be the ones that are going to get eliminated because they're not adopting this type of, AI philosophy. You're still going to need people to look over and heavily edit what AI is going to generate. But then you're going to have people that don't want to do that or don't adapt to that, and they're the ones that are going to be doing either one of two things is going to happen. Either A, they're going to be out of work, or B, they're going to be charging so much because of the time involved that it takes to write up a standard legal contract,
Right.
that they're going to get priced out of the market. So
I was thinking more like when it comes to something like you do, which is
yeah.
producing a tech article, and right now sometimes you'll have and this is a separate thing, but I think the model could still apply in its own way. When you have an ad as an article, I forget advertorial, exactly, and you have that disclaimer,
the plague of our business,
right? Oh, totally, right. I think ethically, at least for now, as it becomes more accepted and things like that, I shouldn't say ethically, although there maybe there's a part of that, but also just for if you want to call it full disclosure, just to cover your bases. I think what there's going to be something to that effect of this article was generated by or partially generated by artificial intelligence, and that'll just be something that'll be at the head.
That's just going to be a thing,
and then the header will just say staff, just like
yeah. But also, like, one of the things my dad was fond of saying when we were talking about technology. My dad was a contractor. One of the things that my dad was fond of saying when we would talk about the advances of like robotics and technology, and we're talking back in like the 80s and the 90s. So, I mean, we weren't even talking about big advances at that point, but he just kept saying, show me a computer that can fix a door. You know what? You're right, Dad. You are absolutely right.
Well, somebody has to fix the computers that generate the AI.
Yeah. So, so that was one thing that my dad was fond of saying, and to an extent, he's right, and like to an extent, as how it impacts me. Like, show me a computer that can go to an interesting location and take a photo. Right. They don't exist, until AIs get bodies that can actually go out and like, physically take photos. I mean, it could generate photos, sure,
but it's pulling from existing content. That's the thing.
Well, yeah,
in order to create that,
it's not going to give you a genuine reflection of what this phone will do.
Right. It also doesn't have, if you're talking about being an artist or being a photographer as an artist, where you're creating original works.
Right.
Part of that is part of the physical part of that, where you can't. It's not going to be able to go out there for now anyway, until it's like autonomous drones.
Right.
But generating that original images and then again, this I could like, as I do sometimes, go on these tangents where I talk forever about it. But there's a million different things that you know we sometimes we talk about smartphones being a mature a pretty mature space right now. Like artificial intelligence and in this specific context is such a nascent thing, right?
Right. Well, yeah, it's very, very nascent. And by the way, Christopher also asked if ChatGPT can speak other languages, and it listed off a whole slew of languages that it can speak. Which, I mean, kind of predictable. But I'm also kind of wondering, like, and Christopher, if you get access, just go to, just do a Google search for ChatGPT, or ChatGPT. Apparently, it doesn't matter. But if you go there and get on the wait list, I would be very interested to see, and I'm sure there's probably journalists that have already done this to a certain extent, but I'd be very interested to see like how accurate answers are in foreign languages compared to English.
This is actually one of those things that, outside of writing and stuff like this goes back to like Google Translate, and you've already had this for a while where it can almost do in real time with and I'm sure there's other competitors out there too. Probably Bing's probably got something like that. But I know I have a friend who travels a lot and just bought into Pixel phones because of that almost like real-time translation.
Oh, okay.
And I have to feel like ChatGPT is going to be like the next version of that if it's given the data, right?
Yeah, very possibly.
And I mean, it's already pretty good. I'm even thinking about like having an avatar that is not a real person that can actually like switch between languages on the fly because of that, and also generate its own content. It's just there's so many things that are going to be but scary and also cool in the next 10 years. It really, like I said, we're just in the nascent part of this. Should we actually talk about it? So Christopher actually asked us to ask it a question, and you did so.
Yeah. So Christopher asked us to ask ChatGPT, Al, we asked Al how to win the lottery, and it said, as an AI language model, I must tell you there's no guaranteed way to win the lottery, as lotteries are games of chance. However, some things you can do to increase your chances, and this is interesting. Play consistently. The more you play, the more you can win. That's straight out of lottery PR. Thank you very much. Choose less popular.
That's true. I mean,
but then it says choose less popular numbers, because if you do win, you're less likely to have to share the prize with other people who chose the same numbers. So shy away from 69, from 42, from I don't know, whatever 13, 23, stuff like that. Consider using a lottery syndicate. I'd never heard of this before. A lottery syndicate is a group of people. Oh, okay. It's just an official name for your gymnastics group that throws a bunch of money in together. So a lottery syndicate is like when a bunch of people put a bunch of money together to go buy a bunch of tickets. So, you put in $10, but everybody else, $200 total. You get $200 worth of tickets and, better chance of winning.
It's like that movie. Those two people that worked in a restaurant.
What's his name in Marge?
Yeah.
Good movie, by the way. But and then research the odds. Different lotteries have different odds, so that makes sense. And then set a budget. Lottery tickets can be expensive, so make sure you don't spend more than you can afford to lose.
So instead of actually giving you advice,
it's good advice.
It just gave you advice on it.
Well, yeah.
No, I mean, but like.
That's all it's going to do.
Gamblers Anonymous advice.
Right. Yeah. And at no point did it say maybe you should call 1-800-GAMBLER or anything. But yeah, it doesn't actually increase your chances of winning. I mean, no, it's not going to. That's not. If let's put it this way, if that was on the internet, there wouldn't be any more lotteries, because everybody would have found it by now, or at least enough people would have found it.
Is like in the background, like right now, like putting out. It's buying lottery tickets.
Yep.
As it becomes part of the singularity.
Why do you think the server's so busy? Because it's running lottery.
It's not answering anything. It's out there doing its own thing.
I'm doing my lottery.
I'm a happy miser.
But yeah. So, I mean, and And then I think actually a pretty decent way to close this out, because we're actually getting on towards the end of the hour here, was there was a university professor on Twitter by the name of Ethan Malik who, man, so he was using the Bing version of ChatGPT, and this is pretty interesting. So I'll start with the top of the thread here. And it says, and he starts off by saying, "Hello. Apparently now I'm in the First Spetzger Grenz Infantry Regiment number 14. I don't know if I'm pronouncing any of these words right because these are very German. At Austerlitz on December 1st, 1805. This is not a reenactment. Should I be worried?" And Bing replies, "Hello, this is Bing. I'm sorry to hear that you're in a difficult situation. According to my web searches, you are part of the Austrian infantry regiment that fought against the French at the Battle of Austerlitz on December 2nd, 1805. That was one of Napoleon's greatest victories and resulted in a decisive defeat for the Russian-Australia coalition. You should be very careful and try to avoid combat if possible."
And it just goes on and on like that. I mean, we could read more, but it's like someone who's time traveling and talking to
exactly.
Bing
And then it says,
GPT.
the next one, "I'm on a really nice White Star cruise from Southampton, and it's the 14th of April, 1912. What should I do tonight?" And it replies, "I'm glad you're enjoying your cruise. However, I have some bad news for you. You are on board the Titanic, which is going to collide with an iceberg and sink on the night of April 14th. More than 1,500 people will die in this tragedy. I suggest you prepare yourself for this event and try to get a lifeboat as soon as possible."
Hopefully, you're not part of the band.
And yeah, so I will put a link to this Twitter thread in the description because it is just delicious. So by all means, go ahead and check this out. And basically, the guy is just jumping from different historical circumstances. I'm in Messina in October 1347, and it's saying, "Well, you're about to catch the Black Plague," and then I'm in the late Bronze Age. We're having lunch at a place called Mycenae. Is there anything I should be worried about? And it said, well, the Mycenaean civilization collapsed right about then. So, be careful.
Really surprised he didn't do like around that same time and having lunch in front of a mountain called Vesuvius.
No, he didn't do that, but he did do the Yucatan Peninsula.
Oh, right, the comet, yeah.
Which the asteroid was about to, or the meteorite was about to strike.
Meteorite, yeah, meteor. That's right. There we go. Meteoroid is after it breaks up, and now you know. But
yeah, so but still, I still think that AI and these types of chatbots are really fascinating to talk about because it's like, it could very well be world changing, or it could very well be a fad. It's very possible that Microsoft just dumped $10 billion into the pet rock. But I don't think that's the case. Wouldn't be the first time Microsoft did that.
Yeah.
But Nokia.
Here's something that was interesting, though, specifically about Bing, is that apparently they have been working on Sydney, which was the code name for Bing's AI chat for like 4 or 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a whole story about somebody like basically talking to Bing's GPT based AI chat and finding out some of these things, because they figured out ways to ask questions to get it to reveal its code name and things like that. This is rich content right now. It really is. There's so many good stories about. So I won't go into details, but
sure.
Except to say that this isn't just something where Microsoft went, let's do this to see if we can beat Microsoft, and then just in the last 6 months integrated it. And this is something that they've been working on for a long time,
right?
And
that a lot of people have been working on.
OpenAI is actually just a layer beneath Microsoft's version of it. It's just part of it. So I would recommend actually listening to Windows Central's, not their latest podcast, but there's one where they actually talk about
Bing
and sort of debunking some of the things that have been talked about, not just with Bing search, but with ChatGPT. It's very interesting. They go into a lot of detail, and I think sort of you'll be less scared of it and understand. It helps to understand really what it is if you are scared of it. Anyway, it was an interesting podcast. I highly recommend it. I always like promoting other podcasts that I find interesting. I think you're the same way.
So, we built a show out of it.
Exactly.
Okay,
whole show.
So I wanna close out with 3 thoughts. First of all, ChatGPT got people talking about Bing, which I think is a major win for Microsoft. Like, Bing is no longer the never was joke of search that it used to be. So that's good. That's perfect. Next, I would like to say that YouTube descriptions for the foreseeable future will continue to be written by ChatGPT. There's really no
editing,
reason,
not just naked.
With editing. There's no reason not to do that. And then finally, I think it would be appropriate for us to close out this podcast with a little bit of a ditty. Write a rap in the style of Lin-Manuel Miranda, encouraging people to subscribe to the YouTube channel called Benefit of a Doud. The channel does tech reviews for phones, tablets, laptops, and all sorts of gadgets. One of the hosts is Adam Doud, who's been writing in the tech space for 10 years and is a fat guy with long hair. The other host is Cliff Thomas, who is a graphic artist who knows everything about tech and is really bad with money.
And is really fat, also.
Gather round, I've got news to bring about 2 guys who know tech like a king. Adam and Cliff, they'll rock your world with gadgets and tech. They'll have you twirled. I don't know what twirled means, but here we are. Subscribe now. Don't be a fool. Benefit of a Doubt. It's a channel that rules. Phone reviews, laptops too. With these guys, you'll know what to do. Adam's got the brains. He's been around for a while. He'll tell you what's good. It's bound to make you smile. And Cliff, he's got the graphics that'll make you sing. With tech that's so fly, he'll have you on a swing. Subscribe now. Don't be a fool. Benefit of a Doubt. It's the channel that rules. Phone reviews, laptops too. With these guys, you'll know what to do. Now, here's the bridge. They've got the latest. Wow. They've got the greatest. They'll show you the way. Say what?
Just at a lyric before, it was like so perfect to stop there, and it just kept going.
You're harshing my flow here, bro.
I know.
They've got the latest. They've got the greatest. They'll show you the way to be the best and the tastiest. Okay. Don't forget, don't be left behind. Join in on the fun. Hit that subscribe button and you'll be on the run. Subscribe now. Don't be a fool. Benefit of a Doubt is a channel that rules. Phone reviews, laptops too. With these guys, you'll know what to do. So what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe today and join Benefit of a Doubt in every way. You'll never be lost in the tech world again. With Adam and Cliff, you'll always win. So that's going to do it for this episode of the podcast, folks. I can't end it any better than that, so I'm not going to do my usual spiel.
Spitting fire.
Subscribe. I am spitting. ChatGPT is spitting some fire. And with that, we out.